Hey y'all, I'm in here at Site 1. I got everything power washed. Problem is over here at Site 1 is this place was built back in the 90s and the previous owners kept up with it great. Done a really good job. The problem is this place is due for gates. And I don't have 70 grand to put in for gates. So basically I gotta weld and I gotta make some things work basically. Because if you go through the process of putting all new gates in here, you might as well replace all those slats, all the slats and everything, because you're ripping everything out. So you might as well take everything from the ground up if you're going to start on the bottom anyway. But I'll show you what I'm talking about here. This place back in the 90s was a gilt program. So every single one of these gates here, as you can see, they swing. So all these gates here, they swing and they shut. So this whole alley, this would be an alley back here with the nipples. Those trees, they slide back. So the pigs could run this, essentially. The little pigs would be stuck up here. Right up here, the little pigs would be stuck right in here. So this whole alley would be left untouched. And that was just for the gilts, the weaner program. And the gilts would come in as babies. They would keep them up here by the feeders and stuff. Well, what happened, and they figured this out the hard way, is having all those pigs up here by the feeder on that slat. Them slats went real quick compared to it being even on both slats. Instead, they were really hard just on that. So I have already went through and replaced a bunch of them slats. That's why I don't want to go through and replace all the slats, because that sucked that day we were running slats up and down this alleyway here. So another thing too, I'll show you guys. I've had to replace the brackets on the wall because of the same deal. These pigs get bored and they just bam, 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 bam. So they blew that old one out, and you can see how thin that is. I mean, it's a step away from being broke. It's just real too thin. This is my new one on here. As you can tell how much thicker that is and newer that bracket is. And I mean, you can just tell the difference on 40 years old and brand new. And they're all like that. I've replaced most of them. Going down through. Now, I did not cut the old ones off yet. I'll have to cut the old ones off because the company that owns the pigs, they're going to call that sharp edge, which is not good. And it is a sharp edge. The pigs will get caught on it and get ripped open. Not good. So after I replace all of them, and I have my green marks on here still, I'll go through with my grinder and cutting wheel and I'll cut all them old brackets off. Now, big problem, and I don't know why they did this back in the day. I have no idea why they did this back in the day. It just seems like it's more like they had to have known back then that this was going to have to be replaced in 30 years, which they haven't done. So I'll show you here. That bracket, the old bracket, so I've already replaced that bracket this turn. I got a new bracket on there this turn. As you can tell, I already had to cross that. So that's the old bracket that needs cut off there. You can tell what happened down here as it broke off at the end. That's been my main problem here, as these brackets getting way too paper thin up here. Like this one would probably have another year or two left in it. But you can just tell the thickness of this new one down here. And on the bottoms, they got a whole nother fatness on there, which are thick or thicker. Now the problem I'm telling you about is these bolts right here that go in this old bracket, they run all the way to the other side of this wall into that bracket. So essentially, if I cut this, I have to replace this one over here as well, because that rod runs all the way through the wall there. I don't have time, let alone time to edit. I don't have time to film all that stuff. I wish I could, honestly, and I don't know how to edit. And guys, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 barns that I chore. 2 of them hold 5,000 pigs. So you can only imagine, I don't have time to film and stuff. I barely got time to work in them and do the maintenance work. But this is by far my favorite barn. I mean, it is. It's my favorite one. It's small. It holds 1,200 hogs. It's really easy to wean to finish here. I get overstocked every time they overstock me, so the money's worth it in here every time they overstock me. And it compensates for a lot of work when they overstock you. You get more money, it's a little extra work or whatnot. But I'll flip this around and give you guys barn clean. Mats hung up, nipples. Go through one more thing here. So I noticed last time on my last turn, when they overstocked me, I noticed the problems with the water. I noticed I was having problems with pigs getting water. And it wasn't because I didn't have water. It wasn't because my nipples were bad. It was because I didn't have enough water. Now, there was enough water pressure. I'm not saying that. But when you have 60 pigs on 2 nipples, it's quite the deal. So, yeah. There's my one to come off of here, okay, for this nipple here. Problem is, I'm going to put another tree on this side, and then I went ahead and fixed the plumbing, so there's my other fitting to come into here. That is how I hope I fix my water issue for my overstock pigs from now on. I've done that to every pen. So basically I had to go pony up and get a bunch of trees. And what I mean by trees is a bunch more nipples. That way my success from raising the overstock will be better, because the grower is not going to send you overstock if you can't keep them alive. And if you're not doing your job, they'll quit that. And it's honestly a good source of money. If they overstock me 2 times a year, it's really good money in here, and it pays for the maintenance. That's why I really want to get overstocked at this barn. Just figured I'd give you guys a show. Sorry that it's a long video, but I wanted to. That's just half the shit that happens in these barns. You got to fix it every time, and if you don't fix it, your next turn, it'll be hell. It'll be hell on you and the pigs. Thank you for watching, guys.